The needle drops on the lacquer, scratching the surface of time. I'm translating the scripture, finding the source of the rhyme. No radio edits allowed inside the subterranean bar. If your frequency's fractured, you cannot blame it on my fault. I walk through alleys where the ghosts of the master still speak, digging through crates for a snare that can make your eardrums weak. The city's a pressure cooker, breathing out steam through the grate, while the politicians sell us illusions of saving the state. I maintain a position, keeping my back to the brick, watching how the corner hustlers turn a quick little trick. My vocabulary is ancient, pulling the ink from the deep, writing out stanzas while the rest of the neighborhood's asleep. They want the simple equation, the two-column commercial view, but I'm tearing up the contract to show you something that's true. A fountain pen dipped in acid, burning right through the page, documenting the trauma of a forgotten young age. We used to dream about jerseys, now we dream about truth, reclaiming all the percentages that we traded in youth. The kick drum is a hammer hitting the center of bone, isolating the message through a cracked studio microphone. I don't look for the validation or the corporate applause, I'm just a student of science, analyzing the flaws. So let the real spin until the tape runs thin. This is the baseline structure where the real narratives begin.
Check the methodology, straight from the underground block. Check the methodology, straight from the underground block. Check the methodology, straight from the underground block. Check the methodology, straight from the underground block.
I see the shorties running rampant with their sneakers unlaced, mimicking the television villains with the shadows on their face. They need an education that the classroom never could yield. How to navigate the politics inside an asphalt field. The SP200 loops the sadness out of the tenement wall, where the rent is always high but the human value is small. I'm cutting through the commercial fat with a lyrical blade, exposing every single false idol that the industry made. They chase the mass appeal till the art form is pulled apart. I'd rather drop a single coupe, it leaves a scar on your heart. The rhythm is a defense mechanism, a shield for the mind, parallel to the madness that we left far behind. No strings attached to how my internal metric is spun. I can illuminate the dark without the shine of a gun. We hold the frequency steady, never negotiating the terms, watching how the block decays while the cold concrete burns. So keep your hands off the volume if you don't understand the depth. I've been calculating these steps since the day I took my first breath. The underground is a kingdom where the purists survive, keeping the spirit of the pioneer foundation alive. No faking the funk, we just deliver the medicine raw, the most authentic architecture that your eyes ever saw.
The methodology, straight from the underground block. The methodology, straight from the underground block. It's the methodology, straight from the underground block. It's the methodology, 1, 2, 3, 4. Death with the record.
Now the hour is late in the studio, smoke starts to clear, but I'm still pacing out the boundaries of my ultimate fear, that the culture gets diluted by the greed of the hand that trades the gold for the silver across this desolate land. I keep my fingertips black from the dust of the forgotten soul, using a fragment of a jazz loop to keep my conscience whole. The world turns on an axis of manipulation and lies, but you can see the destination if you look in my eyes. We don't bow to the corporate lords or the algorithmic rules, we leave the superficial metrics to the hands of the fools. One mic, one machine, and a mind fully set free, tracing out the lineage from the root to the tree. So let the piano loop play until the power goes out. This is for the heavy thinkers who can navigate doubt. I sign my name in the ledger and I step from the booth, leaving 14 tracks of unadulterated street truth.
Apology, free from the underground block. The methodology, free from the underground block. The methodology, free from the underground block. The methodology, free from the underground block.
Yo, turn my headphones up a little bit. Yeah, right there, leave the tape hissing it. Let them know it's live from the room, look. Concrete underfoot, gray sky hovering high above, looking for a legal dollar and a little bit of love. But the block is a furnace and the temperature's rising fast. You gotta keep your chin tucked if you want the evening to last. The fiends are on the corner doing dances with the phantom ghosts. Most of our childhood heroes don't appear on no poster or post. They locked inside a brick institution or sleeping on the iron grate, while the politicians down in DC argue about the business of the state. I see the world through a cracked windshield, dusty and blurred. Every single stanza I spit is an endangered species of word. We don't compromise the blueprint for the sake of a radio spin. We just sit inside the laboratory and let the dark loop spin. The rhythm's designed to make you tough from the center of the heart. A revolutionary work of sonic on Tampa Street art. Boom rush the system, pull the plug on the commercialized fake. It's time to realize the exact magnitude of what is at stake. We don't negotiate with corporate lords or financial kings. We cut right through the deception with these vocal extremes. Cold concrete, you can't run from the pavement. Living on the edge of the systemic enslavement. Cold concrete, hear the drum break, roll, trying to keep a tight grip on the sanity of soul. Cold concrete, you can't run from the pavement. Living on the edge of the systemic enslavement. Cold concrete, hear the drum break, roll, trying to keep a tight grip on the sanity of soul. The numbers are just a trick. They use media poison the blind to make the general populace leave their critical thinking behind. They want you watching the screens, keeping your expectations low, while the invisible architects of power direct the entire show. But my freedom of speech is a weapon of direct tactical choice, giving a raw frequency back to the fractured neighborhood voice. They want us careless, caught up in this consumerist race, chasing after empty symbols while we completely lose our place. But I maintain a balance, standing on the asphalt block, watching how the hands turn, racing out the clock. I don't ride the commercial wave, I just study the low tide, keeping all my focus on the creative treasure inside. So let the piano loop filter until the tape machine runs out. This is for the heavy minds who understand the roots of the doubt. We hold the frequency steady, we don't look for the praise, surviving through the madness of these last times and days. Cold concrete, you can't run from the pavement. Living on the edge of the systemic enslavement. Cold concrete, hear the drum break, roll, trying to keep a tight grip on the sanity of soul. Cold concrete, you can't run from the pavement. Living on the edge of the systemic enslavement. Cold concrete, hear the drum break, roll, trying to keep a tight grip on the sanity of soul. Now the sun goes down completely and the shadows stretch long. The weak get broken into pieces while the wicked grow strong. But the microphone stays heavy and steady in the palm of my hand, documenting every single tragedy that happens in the land. I'm digging through the historical crates till my fingertips turn black, looking for the sonic fragments that could bring the spirit back. The industry's a rigged casino where the house always wins, but the music is an unbroken circle where the true story begins. No faking the funk, we just deliver the street knowledge, raw, the realest blueprint that your civilization never saw. I pace out the metrics of a heavily fractured urban mind, leaving all the superficial commercial garbage far behind. So let the bass line keep rocking as the needle spins down to the end, until the spinning of the circle brings us back around again. Yeah, live from the concrete, power to the people, no delay, we out.
Salt and pepper and heavy D up on the project screens, hanging pictures on my wall every Saturday night, hoping that a pen and paper could make my future bright. I remember the smell of the kitchen when the gas was turned low, trying to stay warm underneath the winter street lamp glow. My mother worked 2 jobs just to keep the rent paid, looking at the stack of bills and errors that I made. But the music was a savior, a direct method of escape, losing my troubles inside the turning of a cassette tape. I used to sit on the porch with the notebook in my hand, trying to understand understand my position inside a rich man's land. They told me that a shorty from the block couldn't elevate, that we were destined for the corner or the iron institution gate. But I found a loophole inside the SP1200 drum machine, pitching down a jazz sample, keeping my conscience clean. Now the narrative is changing, the hard work starts to show, from the underground crates to the international stage glow. But I never forget the foundation of the dust on the floor, remembering the days when we were knocking on a closed door.
Who you are, don't let the struggles of the world hold you down. Reach for the stars, let the rhythm take control. You know very well who you are, don't let the struggles of the world hold you down. Reach for the stars, let the rhythm take control.
Now periodically I take a walk down my old blocks, looking at the new faces and the reinforcement locks. The neighborhood's changing, the buildings are getting torn down, but the same old blues still echoes through this lonely town. I see the shorties on the step trying to master the flow, looking for a way out that the school books never show. I drop the street knowledge like a heavy piece of lead to fill up the open spaces where the hunger used to tread. No use in chasing the fool's gold or the jewelry shine. I'd rather keep my integrity completely aligned with my mind. They want you commercialized, stripped of your authentic soul, selling out your secrets just to play a radio role. But we maintain the standard that the old master set, paying out the cultural dues without a single regret. So let the Rhodes piano glide until the reel runs out. This is for the heavy minds who survive.
You know very well who you are, don't let the struggles of the world hold you down. Reach for the stars, let the rhythm take control. You know very well who you are, don't let the struggles of the world hold you down. Reach for the stars, let the rhythm take control.
From the cold winter nights to the warmth of the summer sun, the story keeps unfolding and the work is never done. I'm writing out my life line by line in the dark, leaving a permanent mark like a match hitting the spark. We hold the frequency steady for the brothers who fell, who never made it out the boundaries of this urban hell. This is a monument built out of rhythm and rhyme, standing completely untouched by the passage of time. So let the vocals blend in with the warmth of the bass as we cross the finish line and win this marathon
Hold
race.
every rail, yeah. Don't let the struggles of the world, you know very well. Don't let the struggles of the world hold you down, you know very well.
Yeah. Dedicated to the dreamers, from the dust to the stars. It's all good, baby. It's all good.
You know, looking back, we didn't have much, but we had you. This is for the mother surviving in the wilderness. Listen close. When I was young, me and my mama had beef. 17 years old, running wild on the streets. I was caught up in the drama of a fast-paced game, bringing home the sorrow, adding weight to your name. I can still see you sitting at the kitchen table late at night, crying in the dark by the refrigerator light, wondering if your only son will make it back home, or if I'd end up in a cell or a cold graveyard stone. You working extra hours at the hospital down the block, coming home exhausted just to watch the kitchen clock, trying to put a plate of food in front of my face. Even when I was a statistical disgrace, I didn't understand the magnitude of your sacrifice, caught up in illusions of the street lifestyle vice. But now that I'm a man of clarity, it's crystal clear. I apologize for every single solitary tear. You were a shield in the middle of a systemic war, keeping the family safe behind a triple locked door. No words can describe the depth of my ultimate pride for the woman who stayed righteous with the truth on her side.
Through the rain and the pain, you stood tall. Mama, don't you worry, I won't let you fall. A song for your tears, a song for your grace. Nothing in this world can never take your place.
I remember the winter when the heat got turned off. We were wrapped in 3 blankets listening to your cough.
You gave me a coach so I could walk to the school, telling me to stay sharp, never act like a fool. The neighborhood was a trap designed to make us feel a direct pipeline from the cradle to the county jail. But you stood in the doorway like a soldier in arms, protecting your children from the environmental harms. Even when the cupboards were completely bare and dry, you found a way to make a meal and never let us see you cry. I use my pen now to pay back the heavy emotional debt. For every single sleepless night, an hour of regret. They can keep the commercial trophies and the corporate gold. I'd rather keep your spirit safe from getting bitter and old. This is a monument crafted out of rhythm and ink, giving the future generations a moment to stop and think.
Through the rain and the pain, you stood tall. Mama, don't you worry, I won't let you fall.
Now the gray hairs are showing on the crown of your head, a beautiful reminder of the past that we had to tread. We made it through the wilderness, the storm has passed by, and I promise to protect you until the day that I die. I put your name in the lyrics so the world can see the truth, the real foundation of my misunderstood youth. So rest your weary hands, let the music take the load as we walk together down this long and winding road.
Next up on the selector, pass the mic, no holds barred. Watch this. The verbal acrobat is back inside the center of the ring, balancing the heavy metrics of the sentences I bring. No strings attached, I'm swinging from the highest top bar, rhyming like a pulsar, shining brighter than a star. But keep it underground, subterranean with the flow, wrecking every single baseline from the very get-go. Sit back, relax, and let your expectations loose. We're pouring out the raw, uncut conceptual juice. They say the purists can't survive inside the modern climate, but watch me take the architecture, rearrange and climb it. I'm all that and then some, short, dark, and handsome, holding every single fake pretender for a ransom. My days of paying dues are over. Look at the script, the definitive master plan has officially been flipped. So what's the scenario? Next up to bat, next up to bat, next up. My vocabulary is a chest fully packed with wealth. I use the microphone to improve my neighborhood's health. I bounce with the rhythm, syncopate the raw delivery, leaving all the radio pretenders in a shivery state of absolute confusion, looking for their ghostwriter book. I don't need a manufactured commercialized hook. Just give me a dusty drum break and a bass line that swings, and watch how the authentic spirit of the old school sings. We're breaking down the gates, routing the entire layout, showing these commercialized cowards what the game is about. From the East Coast stomping to the wilderness of the West, we keep the multi-syllabic pattern thumping in your chest. Check it out now. Wreck it from the jump street, wreck it from the jump street, wreck it from the jump street, wreck it from the jump street. I approach the microphone with a legendary state of grace, tearing down the illusions of the corporate market space. They want you Afrocentric one day, then commercial the next, changing up your wardrobe just to fit the corporate text. But I maintain a standard of the 5% mind, leaving all the superficial garbage far behind. The word is the herb and I'm deep like the sea, cultivating thoughts out under an asphalt tree. So pay close attention to the thesis we present. Every single line is worth 100%. And you don't stop. It's your shot. Like it from the jump street. Like it from the jump street. Like it from the jump street. Now the cipher is complete and the final hammer drops. The momentum we created here ain't never gonna stop. We're wrapping up the broadcast, pulling the plug on the fake, leaving a permanent reminder of what was at stake. 4 MCs, one machine, and a mind fully set free, delivering the rawest uncut street legacy.
it from the jump street. Wreck it from the jump street. Wreck it from the jump street out now. Go! Thinking of a master plan. I revolve around science. Thinking of a master plan. I revolve around science. Thinking of a master plan. I revolve around science. Thinking of a master plan. Boom, rush the show. Boom, rush the show.
I sit inside the laboratory where the shadows stretch long, redrafting the anatomy of what makes an authentic song. It's more than just a simple multi-syllabic pattern on a grid. It's tracing out the historic trauma that our ancestors hit. I slice the quarter note sample, pitch it down a semitone, re-educating the entire system through a broken microphone. They want the easy equation, the two-column commercial view. Who isn't, but the code they publish isn't true. I'm matching up my cadence to the ticking of the autumn rain, parallel to the madness, but I'm surviving through the pain. No strings attached to how my complex narrative is spun. I can illuminate the darkness without the shine of a gun. Scholars of the pavement, piece to every single block, watching how the industry vultures try to circle the clock. We kick the real knowledge while they chase the mass appeal. This is the raw anatomy of how the inner city feels.
It's a start, a work of art. Death with the record.
Now look at what they made us, simple consumers of the chaos, hoping that the corporate masters finally will pay us. But we break the contracts, we rip apart the published pages, bringing back the ancient wisdom of the old world sages. One mic, one machine, and a mind fully liberated from the systematic change that the industry created. I don't ride the commercial wave, I just study the tide, keeping all my focus on the creative treasure inside. So let the piano loop run until the tape machine blows. That's how the authentic underground architecture grows. No time for the faking, we just deliver the truth raw, the realest blueprint that your civilization ever saw.
Power to the people, no holds barred, no holds barred.
The final chapter is written in the soot of the city street, where they turn a human being into numbers on a sheet. But I maintain a balance, standing firm on the block, counting down the hours on the studio clock. We leave a permanent legacy inside the vinyl groove, making the entire cultural landscape begin to move.
Thinking of a master plan, and we out of here. Thinking of a master plan, and we out of here. We out of here. Thinking of a master plan. Rush the show. Rush the show.
I pace the pavement, adjacent to where the baseline pumps. A generation of patience waiting for the matrix to slump. We chase the payment arrangements made over bread in the drums, pulling the truth from the root where the unenlightened and numb. They want the flashy persona, the television facade. I'm in the corner with smokers decoding message from God. See, life is fragile, we travel through a volcanic terrain, turning our heavy heartaches to fuel, adjusting the pain. No time for lackluster flows, I elevate the design, injecting structural venom straight to the spine of your mind. I drop the needle, the lethal dosage of audio gold for every shorty who's wildin' out in the freezing cold. From the concrete blocks to the celestial heights, we keep the focus sharp under these predatory lights. Maintain the stamina, standing up to the powers that be, capturing every bracket of life from A up to Z. Street chronicles, read the text written in ink, giving the block a quiet room to finally think. Street chronicles, drop the hammer down on the track, bringing the raw, unadulterated heritage back. Street chronicles, read the text written in ink, giving the block a quiet room to finally think. Street chronicles, drop the hammer down on the track, bringing the raw, unadulterated heritage back. The toxic vapors are rising directly up from the grate, while the politicians align trying to balance the state. I keep my back to the brick, monitoring the block traffic, while these commercial lives are dropping superficial graphic deception, setting exceptions to how the lineage moves. I'd rather stay in the cellar and loop the ancient grooves. My vocabulary is toxic, burning right through the page. A vivid document tracking a highly volatile age. We used to hustle for jerseys, now we are digging for truth, reclaiming all the percentages that we traded in youth. The kick drum hits your bone like a physical hammer strike, isolating the message of what the struggle is like. No strings attached to the metrics of how this ledger is spun. I can't illuminate darkness without the flash of a gun. We hold the frequency steady, refusing to alter the deal, exposing every contract that isn't authentic or real. Street chronicles, read the text written in ink, giving the block a quiet room to finally think. Street Street Chronicles, drop the hammer down on the track, bringing the raw, unadulterated heritage back. Street Chronicles, read the text written in ink, giving the block a quiet room to finally think. Street Chronicles, drop the hammer down on the track, bringing the raw, unadulterated heritage back. The evening shadow is stretching across the tenement wall, where the cost of living is rising, but human value is small. I see the next generation running with eyes wide shut, chasing the industry phantom through a systemic rut. They need an education the classroom never could yield, how to navigate boundary inside an asphalt field. I'm cutting through the commercialized fat with a lyrical blade, exposing every single false idol that corporate greed made. The SB200 is filtering out the noise of the crowd, keeping the low profile integrity completely unbound. So keep your hands off the dial if you don't understand the depth. I've been calculating these steps since the day I took my first breath. The underground is a fortress where only purists survive, keeping the original fire of the foundation alive. I sign my name in the ledger and step away from the booth, leaving these final bars as a monument to the street truth. Street Chronicles, read the text written in ink, giving the block a quiet room to finally think. Street Chronicles, drop the hammer down on the track, bringing the raw, unadulterated heritage back. Street Chronicles, read the text written in ink, giving the block a quiet room to finally think. Street Chronicles, drop the hammer down on the track, bringing the raw, unadulterated heritage back.
Man, I don't even know who's behind me anymore. Every time I turn the corner, I see the same shadow. Let me tell you about it. I watch the smoke curl up toward the cracked ceiling fan, trying to map out the destiny of a broken young man. We spend our entire youth running after things we can't keep, losing our sanity just to get a little bit less sleep. I see my reflection in the dark glass of the window pane. The lines on my face look like the tracks of a subway train. My hands are sweaty and my mind is playing tricks on me. I swear there's a silhouette standing underneath the tree. They wanna lock the body, but they cannot contain the mind, searching for a peace that is incredibly difficult to find. Life is a parallel to both the heaven and the hell, and the stories that we tell are just a wishing well. I keep my back to the wall when I walk through the neighborhood gate, knowing that a single error can seal my ultimate fate. No use in dreaming about a crown made of fool's gold. I'd rather keep my integrity from getting bitter and old.
Day after day, the mind plays games, walking through the fire, breathing in the flames. Goddamn, homie, it's dark on the street, trying to find reality inside a dusty beat.
I took a look back and he was standing right before my face, a giant silhouette trying to erase my entire place. I swung with my right fist, hit the phantom in his mouth. He didn't even flinch, man, the situation went south. He stood about 7 feet tall in the middle of the block. That's the same shadow that's been circling my studio clock. The more I punch the concrete, the more the red blood flies until the illusion disappears right before my opening eyes. My boys are all gone, I'm standing completely alone, holding a smoking microphone made of flesh and bone. It wasn't even close to Halloween, but I felt the fright of an urban environment that steals your creative light. We hold the frequency steady even when the vision blurs, navigating through the madness of whatever occurs.
Day after day, the mind plays games, walking through the fire, breathing in the flames.
Now the medication's wearing thin and the clarity returns, exposing every single bridge that the environment burns. I put my thoughts in the notebook to keep the demons at bay, hoping that the morning sun will wash the shadows away.
culture back when she was standing raw on the block with no commercial distribution or a corporate lock. She wore a vintage jacket made of rhythm, substance, and grease. Before the industry vultures came to tear her apart piece by piece. We used to spend hours on the front stoop sharing the tape, using the raw vocabulary as our method of escape. She talked about the history of the drum and the weight of the pen, writing out scriptures that could resurrect the spirits of men. But then she caught the eye of the suits in the high office tower, who saw a way to exploit her beauty and dilute her power. They started dangling the money, promising the international stage. If she just signed the papers and adjusted the message for her wage, they took her down to the city, changed the natural pace, put a heavy mask of commercialism over her beautiful face. Now she walks a bit different, speaks with an artificial venture, selling out an ancient inheritance to a financial center.
Digging deep inside the grave, back to the starting line, realigning the perspective with a righteous design. Digging deep inside the grave, keeping the lineage whole, protecting the remaining fragments of her historical soul.
Now she hangs out with the corporate lords and algorithmic minds who put her in a box, limiting the sentences that she signs. They want her Afrocentric one day, then violent and cold the next, changing up her entire wardrobe just to fit the published text. She forgets the names of the pioneers who built the foundation from dirt, the ones who used the microphone to articulate the environmental hurt. She don't visit the old neighborhoods or the parks where she used to roam. It takes a heavy pen and a purist heart to bring her back home. I'm writing this explicit letter to shake her out of her sleep, hoping that the roots of the culture are still buried deep inside her consciousness, beneath the layers of the superficial shine, reestablishing her destiny with the architecture of a true design. Because without a voice, the neighborhood is left completely silent and bare, leaving the future generations with no weapon of combat, they systemic despair.
Digging deep inside the grave, back to the starting line, realigning the perspective with a righteous design. Digging deep inside the grave, keeping the lineage whole, protecting the remaining fragments of a historical soul. Digging deep inside the grave, back to the starting line, realigning the perspective with a righteous design. Digging deep inside the grave, keeping the lineage whole, protecting the remaining fragments of a historical soul.
But underneath the heavy makeup, I can still see the original spark, the young girl who used to walk with me through the projects out in the dark. So I maintain my position of keeping her memory alive and untouched, defending her from the greedy hands where her identity is clutched. We don't need the validation of their award shows or their corporate applause. We're just students of the science, analyzing the industry's structural flaws. This is a permanent monument, crafted out of rhythm and unadulterated, and giving the future generations a quiet room to finally stop and think. I leave a story etched inside the lacquer of this vinyl groove line, hoping that one day she'll reclaim a place and begin to truly shine. Original, pure, untouched, the down sister from the very definitive Jump Street, before they put her identity on a commercialized financial balance sheet. Balance sheet, balance sheet, balance sheet.
Digging deep inside the grave, back to the starting line, realigning the perspective with a righteous design. Digging deep inside the grave, keeping the lineage whole, protecting the remaining fragments of a historical soul. Digging deep inside the grave, back to the starting line, realigning the perspective with a righteous design. Digging deep inside the grave, keeping the lineage whole, protecting the remaining fragments of a historical soul.
We don't watch the clock.
Yo, incarcerated thoughts plotting deep inside the shadows of the dark, living with a systematic sharks leave their permanent chalk mark. The dough is flowing slow, so the neighborhood in desperation heli grows underneath the dim street lamps with a cold winter wind freezing blows. I'm a heavy generator of a highly complex multi-syllabic design, slicing through their false narrative, protecting what is rightfully mine. They wanna lock the physical body, but they cannot trap the 5% mind, searching for the historic wisdom that is incredibly difficult to find. The smooth criminal operating on a grime, I'm underground studio beat break, never putting my authentic voice in a commercial box that is fake. We move through the projects like a low profile, untouchable ghost, paying out the cultural tone where it costs the absolute peak most. Life is a dangerous gamble, a continuous roll of the loaded dice, and survival in this urban jungle has a heavy set economic price.
When the pressure rises high on the concrete block,
We hold the frequency steady, we don't watch the clock.
when the system tries to put our identity in chains,
We unleash the structural venom that is flowing through our veins.
when the pressure rises high on the concrete block,
We hold the frequency steady, we don't watch the clock.
when the system tries to put our identity in chains,
I walk through alleys where the ghosts of the old master still clearly speak, digging through the crates for a snare that can make your eardrums weak. The city's a pressure cooker, breathing out toxic steam through the iron grate, while the politicians sell us illusions and saving the destiny of the state. I maintain my position to keep my back firm to the structural project brick, watching how the corner hustles turn a trick to a financial trick. My vocabulary is ancient, pulling the black ink from the ultimate deep, writing out these stanzas while the rest of the neighborhood's fast asleep. They want the simple equation, a two-column commercial corporate view, but I'm tearing up the legal contract to show you something that's true. A fountain pen dipped in acid, burning right through the published page, documenting the trauma of a forgotten systemic young age.
When the pressure rises high on the concrete block,
We hold the frequency steady, we don't watch the clock.
when the system tries to put our identity in chains,
We unleash the structural venom that is flowing through our veins.
when the pressure rises high on the concrete block,
We hold the frequency steady, we don't watch the clock.
when the system tries to put our identity in chains,
We unleash the structural venom that is flowing through our veins. Through our veins, 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 through our veins.
Now the hours late in the studio, smoke starts to slowly clear out, but I'm still pacing out the boundaries of my alternate neighborhood doubt. That culture gets diluted by the greed of the commercial hand that trades the gold for the silver across this desolate, broken land. I keep my finger this black from the dust of the forgotten master soul, using the fragment of a jazz loop to keep my conscience completely whole. The world turns on an axis of manipulation of corporate media lies, but you can see the destination if you look deep in my opening eyes. We don't bow to the financial lords of the algorithmic digital rules. We leave the superficial metrics to the hands of the industry fools.
when the pressure rises high on the concrete block,
We hold the frequency steady, we don't watch the clock.
when the system tries to put our identity in chains,
We unleash the structural venom that is flowing through our veins.
A million heavy straws underneath the camel's tie, broken back, waiting for the final terminal, one that makes the vertebra crack. The system breaks the human being down to figures on a corporate sheet, adding up the daily casualties that happen out on the asphalt street. Two columns for the world of who is and the definitive who ain't, painting realistic portraits of the sinners, completely forgetting the saint. Numbers are cold and they never have an ounce of human feeling or care, but they regulate the terms of our financial labor dealings out there. A massive percentage of the population locked inside a prison cell block, while the upper tier is buying up the real estate on the financial clock. Add up the metrics, analyze the design. It's simple arithmetic, tracking the human timeline. Subtract the illusions, multiply the collective mind. Survival is the science of an unbroken kind. I use addition when I'm building up the strength of the local project. Use subtraction when I'm cutting out the media lies from the absolute truth. Multiplication when we organize the collective power of the human brain, finding a definitive equation that can properly balance out the systematic pain. Why did the societal metrics become so deeply and permanently corrupt? Because the architects of greed want to violently and systematically disrupt the natural balance of the rhythm and the structure of the ultimate rhyme. But we're correcting the parameters, one single bar at a given time. We don't negotiate terms with the financial laws regulating the local state. We cut right through the deception before we arrive at the terminal gate. Add up the metrics, analyze the design. It's simple arithmetic, tracking the human timeline. Subtract the illusions, multiply the collective mind. Survival is the science of an unbroken kind. 8 balls cracked on the corner, 4 fiends waiting in a straight line. 2 cops circling the block trying to run a baseline corporate fine. 1 shorty with a noble trying to calculate the definitive escape from a grimy street reality that's locked inside a modern digital shape. They give you 10 every years for a plant, but let the benches run completely free after they systematically steal the wealth from every community tree. The statistics stack to keep the low income brackets down incredibly low, while the charts on Wall Street keep putting on a spectacular superficial show. We see right through the metrics, we analyze the data they publish out loud, exposing the structural illusions that they use to blind the general crowd. Add up the metrics, analyze the design. A simple arithmetic, tracking the human timeline. Subtract the illusions, multiply the collective mind. Survival is the science of an unbroken kind. I match my cadence to the ticking of the studio master clock, breaking down the algorithms while I stand firm on the pavement block. No commercial letters can contain a density of what we accurately speak. Rising up from the depths of the valley to the highest mountain peak. We hold the frequency steady for the brothers who historically fell, who never made it out the boundaries of this urban neighborhood hell. This is a monument built out of pure rhythm and uncompromised ink, giving the future generations a quiet room, stop and deeply think. We sign our name in the ledger, we correct the historical mistakes, and watch how the entire mathematical structure of oppression breaks. Add up the metrics, analyze the design. It's simple arithmetic, tracking the human timeline. Subtract the illusions, multiply the collective mind. Survival is a science of an unbroken kind.
Translating scriptures from a broken stone project wall, watching how the corrupt empires of the modern world fall while you're imitating television villains from a movie screen. I'll be Nina Simone, defecating right on your commercial machine of systematic lies and illusions that you call financial success. I'm measuring the exact weight of the sins you daily confess. The poetry is sharp like a double-edged structured razor blade, exposing every single false idol that the industry made. We don't need the validation of a corporate lifestyle brand. We hold the blueprints of the culture firm in our own hand, tearing down the matrix of your artificial manufactured fear. The narrative is deep like a subterranean, we're running clear.
Ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. Gonna find you and take it slowly. Ready or not, the awakening is on the inside. You can't escape the rhythm that is holy.
Telling all the historical secrets that they told us never to tell. Navigating through the boundaries of this urban neighborhood hell. We balance out the melody with grimy, hard-hitting street flows. That's how the authentic alternative ethics action naturally grows. No commercial cutbacks can contain the words that we speak. Rising all the way from the valley to the highest mountain peak. I keep my fingertips black from the dust of the crates on the floor. Remembering the days when we were knocking on a permanently closed door. Now the hard work is showing the foundation is beginning to build, fulfilling the destiny that the ancestors originally willed. So let the sub-bass pulse stud deep inside your chest cavity bone as we deliver the scripture through a cracked studio microphone.
Ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. Gonna find you and take it slowly. Ready or not, the awakening is on the inside. You can't escape the rhythm that is holy.
From the cold winter nights to the warmth of the summer sun glow, the story keeps unfolding and the bars continue to naturally pour and flow. We hold the frequency steady for the brothers who unfortunately fell, leaving a permanent mark like a match hitting a gasoline shell. This is a monument crafted out of rhythm and unadulterated ink, giving the future generations a quiet room to stop and think. We pulled the plug on the fake, we dismantled the corporate design, leaving 40 bars of history aligned with a righteous mind. So let the strings play out until the studio lights turn down. As we leave our names etched in the bedrock of this town.
Ready or not, here I come, you can't hide. Gonna find you and take it slowly. Ready or not, the awakening is on the inside. You can't escape the rhythm that is holy.
I didn't write it up, then the next one. Whoa! Mixtape in front of.
Ready to a rapid fire, no!
Girl, you working with some rhythm, make the speakers completely blow. When the low end bass that drops out to the project flow down low. We got the party jumping from the front all the way
low, let your mind go completely free. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is how we operate inside the elite cash money degree. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The drum pattern is kicking with a rapid fire syncopated snap, putting all the raw energy back into the center of the southern rap. We change up the wardrobe, we set the style for the entire era, making all the copycats look deep inside the rearview mirror. The club is alive and the energy is hitting the project ceiling high. Watch how the frequency hits the top of the midnight sky. Stop, drop, open up shop, let the bounce rotate. Cash money taking over, unlock the gates. We keep it jumping all night. We don't stop, look, look. We're the big timers setting the standard for the lifestyle game. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Never letting the corporate labels dilute the power of our name. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We match the cadence to the ticking of the drum machine trigger, making the financial bank account look significantly bigger. From the streets of New Orleans to the blocks up in New York, and we got the whole stadium bouncing up and down to the sound. Stop, drop, open up shop, let the bounce rotate. Cash money taking over, unlock the gates. We keep it jumping all night. We don't stop, look, look. Now the final verse is hitting and the momentum is running fast. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Building up a legacy that's designed to permanently last. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We put a plug on the fake, we drop the baseline down low, telling everybody on the flow it's time to put on a show. We cross the finish line with the whole stadium jumping in place, leaving a permanent mark on the landscape of the musical space. Stop, drop, open up shop, let the bounce rotate. Cash money taking over, unlock the gates. We keep it jumping all night. We don't stop, look, look. Work, 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 work. Open up, stop, look. Work, 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 work. Open up, stop, look. Work, work, open up, stop.
Imagine that, from the pavement to the supreme placement. If the keys belong to the block, how would you configure the design? Look. Yo, I pace the palace adjacent to where the blueprint lies, evaluating the state through these heavily critical lies. If I inherited the reign, I'd rearrange the entire layout, showing the corporate empires what true sovereignty is about. I free my sons from the traps of the cold brick institution, providing a structural baseline for a mental illusion. No more negotiating terms with the financial laws agreed. We pull the wealth from the root to plant an uncompromised seed. Black diamonds and pearls wouldn't dictate our cultural worth. We value the legacy left on the face of this desolate earth. I wipe the matrix of numbers right off the corporate sheet, replacing the systematic metrics with the truth of the street. The crown is heavy, embedded with the trauma of youth, but I maintain the position of speaking unadulterated truth. So let the strings escalate until the power structure breaks. This is the definitive vision of what an authentic kingdom takes.
The sovereign throne, pulling power from the bedrock dirt. The sovereign throne, healing all the environmental hurt. The sovereign throne, drop the hammer down on the fake, realizing the exact magnitude of what is at stake.
There wouldn't be no such thing as a systemic felony charge designed to keep the low-income brackets behind bars while the wicked run large. I burn the labels, the contracts, the legal corporate traps, to trade our heritage away for a couple of radio plaques. We hold the currency steady inside our own local hands, dismantling every illusion that the invisible architect plans. My vocabulary would be the large, deep in the stone, protecting the sanity of every mind that felt completely alone. No faking the funk, we deliver the medicine raw and direct, commanding the global landscape to show the pioneer foundation respect. I match my cadence to the heartbeat of the project block, counting down the final hours on a manipulative clock. We rise above the algorithms, running the digital screen, living as the living spirit, operating outside the machine. So keep your hands off the volume if you can't process the depth. I've been drafting this hypothesis since the day I took my first breath. The sovereign breath.
The sovereign throne, pulling power from the bedrock dirt. The sovereign throne, healing all the environmental hurt. The sovereign throne, drop the hammer down on the fake, realizing the exact magnitude of what is at stake. The sovereign throne, pulling power from the bedrock dirt. The sovereign throne, healing all the environmental hurt. The sovereign throne, drop the hammer down on the fake, realizing the exact magnitude of what is at stake.
Strictly living longevity down to definitive end, until the spinning of the circle brings us back to the center again. The industry's a brick casino where the house always wins, but on the sovereign throne is where the true narrative begins. I see the shorties looking up, searching for a righteous sign. I give them the blueprint to keep their integrity aligned with their mind. No use in chasing the fool's gold or the superficial shine, when you can rule the environment through a masterful design. One mic, one machine, and the mind fully set free, tracing out the lineage from the root to the highest tree. Now the studio smoke starts to clear and the final chapter is written, leaving no space for the cowards who stay paralyzed and smitten. I sign my name in the ledger and I step away from the booth, leaving these final bars as a monument to absolute truth.
The sovereign throne, pulling power from the bedrock dirt. The sovereign throne, healing all the environmental hurt. The sovereign throne, drop the hammer down on the fate, realizing the exact magnitude of what is at stake. The sovereign throne, pulling power from the bedrock dirt. The sovereign throne, healing all the environmental hurt. The sovereign throne, drop the hammer down on the fate, realizing the exact magnitude of what is at stake.